There was no committee meeting tonight, so just going through the pre-meeting. First, we're gonna have an MS4 update by Justin Wagner and Ashley Neptune of CEC. Do you want to go from there or want to come up here?
No,
Up to you.
that's fine.
All right,
Whatever you prefer. Yeah, thanks for having us. Need some new faces here tonight. I'm Justin Wagner at CC, and this is, go ahead, Ashley.
I'm Ashley Neptune, also at CEC.
We haven't spoken with Borough in this venue in quite a while, and wanted to come and just give a brief update and address any questions. If there was something you were curious about. So really, it's been a long road, and I think we're on track with permitting right now for both of our stream restoration projects, Bear Run and Fish Run. We're in the midst of permitting with DEP, and maybe Ashley, she really does a great job handling the day-to-day stuff now. So Ashley, do you want to give an update?
Yeah, so Zach knows we got comments from the DEP on both projects. We actually met with DEP virtually last Wednesday to discuss their laundry list of comments. And we were luckily able to compromise with them on a few. It was a win for us, a little less work. But still, they want to add some fluff to the plans, and just more detail is always what they're looking for. Even though, was it Fair Run was the one with the caravans?
That's correct. That's one of the
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was all situated, which avoided those comments because we had all those agreements that Max provided. So Bear Run's on track, as well as, I think Zach probably been giving updates of the grants he's also been submitting for those. So also kind of hopefully the permitting and then maybe even potentially grant awards should line up for hopefully getting permit approvals for both by either end of this year, January of next year, depending on everyone's holiday schedule. But yeah, no, I think both projects are progressing really well.
So next steps, then, assuming permitting goes as planned, and with no reason to believe that it wouldn't, next steps are bidding and construction. So right now, if the permits are issued in say January, that would put us in pre-prime bidding season to hopefully get some good prices, maybe in February, and line up for a ideal construction season during the, definitely want to do construction during the drier months. When you're working in the stream, you don't want to be battling. Of course, this year it's been a little wet. But you don't want to be during construction having a lot of floods. So typically you want to start your construction over the summer months, July, August, September, or even October, some planting. So right now we're on track for that schedule, and just wanted to provide that update. And then, if there's any questions about anything, we're here to answer them now.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
There's something to add that from a finance perspective, we will be looking at some still low interest loans.
Yeah.
So before we can push this out for bid, we will need to get the approvals. Yeah.
The Penn Best. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, anything else?
Your guys' contract was, we spoke about that. We had the $150,000 limit. I believe we're at the end of that or close to that. So we'll be seeing a revision here shortly, adding to get to the finish line for this thing.
Well, we'll send the change order or easily go.
We need to finish before we like to see that coming up.
Hey, Rich, how much time we got? I don't know. We got a couple more years to fix it.
That is so nice.
All right, there's something else. Thanks so much for the update. Appreciate
No problem.
appreciate
Thank
what
you.
CC is doing.
Nice meeting. New members and everyone else.
Okay, moving on the agenda, next is the Franklin Inn application. So we've invited the applicant and the engineer. Well, okay, so I'm gonna move over there and we can see what questions we have. Or, yeah, let's move down here. That's good. There's some chairs.
And as they're getting set up just for council's recollection, who's in our audience, obviously after the unfortunate fire in December, restaurant was closed for some time. It did have an original land development approval, that had been reported as part of the property. When they came back and needed to make changes for ADA accessibility and other upgrades, that required an expansion, a small addition, which, requires the revised land development review. So the application was filed in June. It went in front of the planning commission, in July, received a recommendation, subject to a number of conditions. We did discuss at the work session, some additional revisions communicated through Tim. And at the work session, we discussed putting together our typical approval resolution with conditions and to address the requested modifications. Council, remember, there was a requested modification to keep the parking lot unpaved, as well as to make some landscaping changes. The sidewalk modification has been withdrawn, so the plans do show sidewalks. And I understand in terms of Tim, the resolution you have, thanks to Sean as well, has the updated and revised plan list included. But I understand there were some additional questions about some existing screening and trees that are along the road. That was at least the focus we wanted to discuss tonight. Right now, the plans as submitted, without either requested modifications or anything, to address those screening trees, is how the resolution is set up. If something develops from this discussion tonight, out front, we do have the motion on to approve the resolution. Under Robert's rules, according to the MDC, you can make an amendment to that motion and that resolution based on discussions here right now.
So why don't you all introduce yourselves?
Is not everyone? Yes.
I'm Wendy. My husband and I are in the restaurant. Dawn. This is our contractor and our engineer.
Doug Tate, the engineer.
I'm Michael Kratzis and we're a design build firm. So we do entitlements, planning and everything. And that's how we were introduced and got into the project involved. I guess as you're all aware, it's just an unfortunate situation that a fire occurred. And, it's been a hardship, and the steps to get back up and running isn't just putting it together as it was. There's all these code issues that are enforced now or that comply with the your code sys that oversees the building plans according to the IPCA and the National Building Code. Then there's submittals that go to the food department and all the changes that have to be upgraded there. The hardship here is that a small addition is required, because if we took the facility as it was and complied with all code issues, with the restrooms becoming 10 times the areas they were, for ADA compliancy, the steps, taking the steps out of the building. And then once you do submit for plans, you have to do the from the ADA parking into the access into the building. So those are the changes. The area for the addition is only 750 square feet. That does not take up any green area that's there. There's a level pad that's almost to grade for the addition that's there now, where a tent has been for the last few years. So that area will be the addition. That would be, because of the grades, the addition will encompass an extension of the basement, which would create a better prep area for the facility that would be in the basement. The second floor of the addition basically is for the ADA restrooms, and part of the kitchen would be in that area as well. There'll be a slight expansion on the side of the building, which is now an open porch. It does have a foundation, so there's nothing to excavate in the footers or foundations. That is all there. So and instead of having an outdoor seating area, which residential line, it's gonna be enclosed. And it's gonna be considered a sun. And there's just gonna be 4 tables in that area. I guess Doug, should we have Doug talk about each comment made by your engineers? Or is that, right now, we're just here to answer questions?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So I understand that landscaping, one of the major hurdles here. As a screening along Oakley, I don't think anyone's gonna argue the fact that the arborvitae's, you can't get any perfect screening than that. What is there now. To embellish what's there, what we're intending to do is along the building, it's out in the open right now, parking lot. We'd like to see it screened with some arborvitae's and some plants in between the arborvitae's that hit the elevation that faces Oak Leaf Drive, and the rear elevation of the building would have some arborvitae's and other probably evergreen plants that stay, maybe some flowering. Here, which is hard to find. Maybe just boxwoods. And I do have an elevation of someone, should I show it now or present it during the hearing?
Does anybody want to see it? Is it her?
No, there's no hearing, but you can, counsel, if you want to have questions out front, as well, if there's a larger audience. Do that. I think when you mentioned Oak Leaf Lane, just for everybody's recollection, the other side of Oak Leaf Lane that wraps through the development, it's residential over there. We just, I think it's on the agenda. It is earlier. So we've had a long running issue that a number of essentially screening trees planted within the right of way is owned by the borough and is not there for screening, commercial view to residential. It was residential to residential, and a significant wall was installed within the borough's right of way. So we've had discussions for about 2 years with the homeowners association and property owners around there. We have come to an agreement, that they will remove the wall that's an encroachment in the right of way by a certain date, and that we will allow the trees to remain until they die or need to be replaced, not to be replaced. Looking at similar types of trees over at the building, understanding commercial to residential, makes sense, but I don't know, and Tim and Sean and others, if how close they are to the Oak Leaf or in the Oak Leaf right of way, and do we need to consider something to the effect of if you ever sell and it becomes a residential structure again, that those trees will not be replaced, so we don't have the same issue that we do at the other end of Oak Leaf Lane. So I'm not sure if anybody, if it's Tim or Sean, or you guys can address, where those fall with respect to Oak Leaf Lane and your property.
We're planted, I know that homeowners association in Oak Leaf came to us. We contributed a substantial amount of money in Oak Leaf Lane, planted all those arborvitae's over there, so.
Okay.
I don't know where they sit exactly on this. It's east. Lines, right there. Station or right of, on the right of way.
It's a simple situation.
So if something happens to these trees, you just shouldn't replace them.
Uh,
Basically, that's gonna be.
Yeah, not on the right of way. So,
Okay.
yeah, similar to the other end of this, street. And then we have a lot of situations in the borough. It's kind of taking by the tearing trees down. When they can die, just don't replant it right away. It's bad for that's fine.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, so just wanna, rather than like, have you, that's kind of what we're thinking.
Yeah, they look nice. Neighbors probably like them, I would imagine.
They're existing, other than the standard of treading the back, et cetera.
Okay.
And also the understanding, we don't know, we had to investigate them. We had to do one call on the other side, the water line. I don't think the gas line was in, but a number of utilities were running right underneath those trees. Utility company could come in and take them out at any time. I'm not sure over there, but that was the part of the concern, that they were only in the right of way to the top of utility. Could impact them, could be taken down. Or-
You might have a situation featured where we can't control that, just emergency and power gets come through. It is very likely taking out one of these things, because it is in the right way. And we, hopefully, that neighborhood is here as well.
We're used to that. Where we live, the utilities come every once in a while and cut those woods between us and St. John and then down there now. Yeah.
And it doesn't look like, I mean, that it doesn't look like as close to the curb, and into the street, like that was part of the issue. At the other end, it was blocking signage, and the sidewalk ended and trees began, but then they started to grow.
Sidewalk.
No, it ended, yeah, it was done.
I think the utilities might be on the other side, if I remember correctly.
According to the plan, people, this is more the area of the west of the waters on the opposite side. I don't know, electric.
And we don't have.
Yeah, so like a similar agreement, or any other thoughts?
Yeah, just, we've talked about these trees many times before this discussion and now, and I think I speak for the rest of the council to say there's no value in asking you to take them down right now, right? They provide visual, sound, aesthetic screening that is valuable both to you guys and the neighbors, and Franklin Park in general. They look nice. So, but especially since we just had this issue on the other side of Oakleaf Lane, and we offered them the agreement where they're responsible if something, if they damage something, and we're not asking them to cut them down, but same thing, once they die or you need to remove them, replace them outside of the right of way.
I just want to let you and John know that, because Sabrina's worked for them for a number of years. Probably working again, that I can't participate in the voting and deliberation. Wishing you guys well.
Rather
Thank you.
keep Sabrina out. Thank you.
Any other thoughts, questions on the landscape portion? Okay, so on to the next, the other two waivers, which is combination stormwater and paving. So we talked about this a little bit, as deliberations outside, inside, et cetera. So the borough does have standards in terms of properties, like every church, pretty much, every commercial property is paved. We recognize the hardship that's going on with Franklin, trying to get through as much as possible. That list of gaps was like 40 down to 3. So we can have way here. So the thought was, since there's a paving code in the borough, we have the codes for a reason. Rather than enforcing it right away, having some sort of long-term, I guess, duration for it has to be. The thought is 7 or 10 years, so it's not immediate, but it is temporary. Part of the reasoning is if Franklin were ever sold, everyone retire and sell, especially if someone else bought it. If it's a restaurant, the whatever waivers and conditional use goes full man, as long as it stays in the restaurant. So if we're having to do a lot of these types of situations where we have it wasn't paved, it get paved now. Barriers here. So we understand it's a hardship, it's expensive, it's for our plan, but it's not something, it is definitely something to consider for long term. I just threw out 7 to 10 years because that's duration or whatnot. I just want to see what thoughts council had, feels
So if it's sold, you require someone else to pay it, maybe that would be a,
within
or we'd have to pay.
within the 10, whatever the time frame is, right? But if it's just left as is, it runs through the land. So the borough would have to go, the code people. And also the code could change in the future, the next 12 years, who knows? There could be other alternatives, or there just could be a global push for rents or permit, non-pervious, whatever.
Right, that was my understanding, that it was more environmentally friendly.
Yes. The standards and other discoveries, everything that's being done, that's kind of moderate citizens. So council thought?
Yeah, I know that we've some other discussion, we talked about the impervious surfaces and issues that can arise from that, soil implications and things like that. So I think on our side, there was definitely an appetite, especially since folks have been there for how long with an unpaved lot to at least grant some kind of leniency on that in the short term, while also not setting a binding precedent for everybody else in the future. So, yeah, I think if we have, a reasonable term, and depending on what things look like in the future, we can always discuss that again and see what things look like that, and then make another decision. So I would be personally open to an agreement or an understanding where, and grant that exception for a certain amount of time as that was. So I would be open to that, support for that.
I was just setting the USBs in the system, just connecting and disconnecting. I have no idea which one I have to shut the whole thing.
Okay, any other thoughts?
Real quickly, Tim, is gravel impervious?
Seems like it's Sean.
Okay, so.
Yeah, so it's more, it's in the middle, a stormwater perspective, it's more impervious than pervious.
And maybe I'm wrong, but I think most of us were operating from the assumption that it was not impervious. Am I? It is pervious, thank you.
I wasn't sure if that was right either, that's why.
That's just double check it. So that, I think, maybe plays into this discussion also. So it basically is, in terms of stormwater, it's very similar to paper.
So if we look at just black and white,
Okay.
impervious, it's more on the impervious side.
Okay.
When we look at, when you take one more step into the actual calculations, it's actually in the middle. So just to put numbers for context without being the nerdy engineering weed. Like, pavement is 98, grass is 74, gravel is 89. So if you were to pave a gravel lot, there is more runoff than contour.
So not as good as just bare ground, but better than blacktop asphalt.
From a calculation perspective, yes. So
And we were paving the top where the handicap is gonna be, right? So there will be some. There will be.
That was actually before I saw the plans, that was a question I had with the accessibility, so I was glad to see that area was going to be paved, so there will be more wheelchairs and walkers and what have you, getting stuff in the ground, so.
It is just a minimum spaces, it wouldn't be, because one thing that we discussed, in that, one of our final plans, are you have a lot of different spaces, more than the part. So if you have like 77, 57 or something, parts like 40, sure you have 57 spaces, so it's whatever it is.
With that said, we were going over impervious. If they are to, within the time block, whatever it may be, address paving the property, would you consider giving a break in the stormwater management plan? Because it is partially pervious, instead of being, like a new full-blown development where, you calculate the whole area and base your stormwater on that, where now it's been like that for over 50 years. A gravel lot that's been pretty well packed down.
You have a considerable area behind that parking lot as far as size.
For stormwater.
That I am sure that is doing wonders for the stormwater, and that area could certainly be used as part of the calculation for just infiltration. So your stormwater facility may not be anything that you're expecting, because there's so much area back there that, is slightly sloped and probably absorbs everything before probably nothing is up above. So, I mean, you'd have to take a look at that engineering wise, but I think you're sitting really pretty for that. I don't think you're gonna have
Because that's a good part of the equation.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna have a huge dollar amount for the stormwater facility that would be, prescribed there.
Did you document that with the plan that?
Well, I mean, it's pretty
with
obvious,
paving?
it's pretty obviously that you have that, and I don't know what type of soils, and that have to be tested, but, you know, I mean, right now, there's a huge area back there, which certainly, I'm sure takes care of a lot of stuff.
But when you be going from existing conditions, you've got the roof, you've got everything that's there. It's not like this is a blank meadow or field and you gotta do your calculations. So you're starting from.
Yes, but back to my dirty numbers.
All right,
where
again,
You're going from 89 to 98. You don't have, there's a 20% redevelopment criteria, but you're not assuming the site is meadow right now or open space. If you were to pave the parking lot, I will put together a plan for you for the delta basically. What's the change from gravel to asphalt?
Yes.
So it wouldn't be deferring stormwater necessarily. That was the question to do that later. We wouldn't recommend that. You have to do time paving, but you're not retroactively going back to what the property looked like in, I don't know, 1940 or 50 or 60, when the port was there. From today,
I think is there something in the ordinance about, people are taking a gravel driveway, say, and paving that, I think it, gave you a certain allowance. 1,600 square feet, but it allowed, a reduction in the, you know, about considering, you know, it's, going from meadow with pavement. And then additionally, you're still retaining and releasing at a free development rate for the addition that you're building, so that's not even gonna have to be part of the calculation.
Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
All right, any other questions or thoughts? Okay, so,
What exactly are we agreeing to?
yeah, I was gonna like recap. Okay, so the trees, don't need to remove, at the moment, when they die or whatnot. If they're just
Do not replant in the right way.
in the right way, right? Similar to the kind of look. That's one. The second is the paving, combination stormwater, which you discussed, for its time frame. And we'll be thinking of 10 years or.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever the date is. Let's see. Looks like 10 years. Was there anything else?
Said the sidewalks. We were talking about time frame.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay, so you're targeting the studio open. And when- So, like,
Come before Thanksgiving.
Okay. but most likely,
They keep telling me that's not possible.
yeah, right. But most likely, I guess, like concrete firms of the work and close season. So just like builders, they typically don't just do it in the winter, they come back like following year or whatever. So our thought was to allow the season here, whatever it is, next fall, as like the look at things. You run it back to council, but.
And that will probably be connected to the land development bond.
Yes, I guess. Is it?
One would be released until the sidewalks.
Correct.
Any improvements
So
in the
that's-
exterior.
To check there.
Why by the ordinance?
It is by next fall, right? Or what do we have provisions?
So to that point, our typical developers agreement and performance bond, 2-year in duration. And then we extend them, that's why we do those addendums for larger developments that might need more time, that increases 10% the amount of the bondings. We have not specifically mandated when sidewalks go, usually the last thing, as we know, elsewhere, so we can address it just in the developers agreement and a modification of the amendment to the motion here, as long as that's what council's in favor of.
Is that on separately?
It's part of, so the bond would be, anything that's required by the ordinance. Be, Doug, reviewed by Sean, be attached as the, exhibit to the developers agreement, and letter of credit will be posted. So that materials are installed, they get checked off, that they're done according to plan, it gets released. And if the sidewalks are the last thing, we just hold on to those funds until it's done.
So once everything's completed, the developers agreement the bond is released. It's not like there's a certain time they enforce.
Well, it's 2 years, but we start, Kathy and I, 3 months before that's out, we start pestering you. Are you done, or do you need an extension? And if you need an extension, there's a 10% increase of the remaining bonded amount to adjust for inflation. Things
If
like
it
that.
does get complete,
Yes.
2 years.
Oh, yeah, we do partial release and retreat at the top, because for land developments, we typically do not do maintenance on, because you're not dedicating roads to us. Sidewalks are this, it's in the right of way, although it's your responsibility to clear and to repair in the future, so likely not require a maintenance bond after release.
That is good. That's it. All right. Good. So we covered on, are we covered? Is anybody? All right, so, trees and then paving tenders. All right. Any other questions for our guests? Do you have any questions for us?
So we asked them.
Of course. Well, yeah, thanks for coming early. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you guys very much.
See your response to everything, and, we'll see you out there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy to get this part behind us.
Sure, we need to-
Right now.
Okay, okay, so that's in terms of the wording.
We were just talking, like, if we have a Word version of the resolution, we can type it up right now, and then we don't have to make a formal amendment to the motion. Otherwise, it would just be what is voted on. Hey, look at that.
All right.
I'll play around with it.
Hopefully we can do it early.
This might not work if, don't you take minutes out?
I do. I'll figure it out.
Do you want to take a break?
Yeah, I guess. Okay, now, do something that isn't required.
Okay, so, Max, you're in the middle of that right now,
Yeah.
so you wanna go over manager items?
Yeah, yeah, my big item is the budget calendar, which I sent to you all via email today. Laying out the proposal as we get into budget season of how, Region and I would like to move forward. Last year we had, escalated that time frame a little bit because of, the financial situation. We don't deem necessary this year. And so we're looking to run a more traditional schedule this year, with the introduction of the proposed budget, at the work session in December, and then the passing of said budget at our regular meeting, 12/16, in our main budget hearing being on Saturday, 10/10. But, that is open to discussion with council for us to get prepared.
So, real quick, October 10th being the budget discussion date.
Yes.
Morning, doesn't happen if that's,
It does, the packet does say that, his email is different.
see, here, okay, so we're going to,
So it's like a new proposed.
oh, okay, all right.
We're going to the 10th of October,
Yeah, are we okay with that?
it's my 16th birthday.
Fun day.
What would you rather be?
Yeah, I'll bring you a set. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll make it fun.
Bring a cake.
Well, my husband has to be away in Oklahoma.
Don't say it like that. I love almost like
Good beef.
Okay,
I'll stay with you guys.
10.
Yeah.
10, we okay with 10? We'll make.
Got off track there, but yeah.
All right,
We're usually done by noon.
we got my seat,
Yeah.
So lots of references there.
Well, we reached out an updated one
Okay, all right.
today. It's good. About, but yeah, I sent you guys the most, up to date. Okay. Just the 10.
Sounds like. All right. Is everyone okay with those dates?
Nothing else, but far enough that I can probably figure something out.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Okay, great.
What are the times for November? November 13 and November 6.
Which one?
Look at the November 30, that what is that? Draft budget company. Hearing the picture.
Hearing number 2, so that would be, before a regular meeting.
Different report,
What time is that?
6.
Which one are we referring to? The draft budget review for council, or are we talking about budget hearing number 2?
Starting line 13 and 14.
Okay, so you're talking about the draft budgets. Yeah.
That's for that.
Yes. Yeah, because on the responsibility side, lays out, you can scroll to the right side of the document. And it lays out who's responsible for what and when. And you guys, your portions are all at the rest of us. Yeah.
Our portion's responsible, like the amount. Incurred.
The hopefully it opens. Yeah, yeah. Outside of that, I only have, an update on, union negotiations, executive session, so.
Yeah, sounds good. So just go around real quick, reports to council here. Dave? First,
So I appreciate Gary and Zach giving me the information on the gas line project going on Grant School Road that's creating a whole bunch of lovely little issues that hopefully it gets better than it was today. It's something I'll be keeping an eye on. Traffic control was less than stellar, and I can see the potential for an accident, some other headaches coming out, and full patch counts going out, so hopefully they get better tomorrow going forward, and this is over as soon as possible for the benefit of the planning borough. But thank you for passing along that information. Yeah, we'll temporary patch everything with cold patch, and once they're done with the entire project, most of the time it's a sump that comes in after and restores the roadway to our standards.
yes.
I guess I did have one other thing, it's a quick question for Mrs. Phillips perhaps. The house is, for lack of a better term, at the top of Wexford Run Road, before you start going down towards the water there, that was, I guess, demolished when I was on vacation. Is that something, I know we have building permits, do we have demolition permits? Okay, so presumably that was something you were aware of.
They had to take that down because they're joining that property, another lot that has a house on it, so why you can only have one principal use on the lot, so
Okay.
apply with that, so they can get the plan recorded, they had to take it.
Okay. That was more of a curiosity, and I hasn't figured out, at least you armed with the information, you never disappeared. Yeah, just, one day my kids go, that house is here anymore. Yeah, okay. At least now I know the answer, somebody in the neighborhood asked me. That's good for me, I appreciate it.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Two quick things.
two residents reached out to me about a proposed cell tower on Clover Hill Golf Course, which, as we know, there was no such proposal. There's no proposal for any cell tower, as far as my understanding. But I just wanted to let you know that was out there. I think there was a social media post about it.
Somebody signed up for a public comment.
We have an email comment, that we reached out, so.
Gotcha, okay. I responded and just said what I told you. We're looking at the ordinances and infrastructure moving forward, but there's no proposal currently. And secondly, Jang and Venu and I met with a couple people from the fire company 2 weeks ago. Recently, it was a good meeting. They gave us a lot of history of the fire department and just kind of getting to know you. And they asked for 4 things, simple things. Number one, they want us to help them promote their mailer when they send out their donation letter. They would like for a little more room in the newsletter. I don't know if that's possible in terms of size or budget, but that's something we can look at. You and I already talked about this. They want a little more detail in the monthly, when their budget is read at our meetings monthly. And the fourth one is actually a question. And I didn't get a chance to look this up. Apparently in former budgets, there used to be a separate capital account for fire truck. And there is not now. Oh, okay. Or fire equipment, maybe not for the truck, but. Okay,
Separate capital. If the fire company is asking for a piece of apparatus and they want us to kick in for it, that shows up in the fire fund as part of the budget, but there's no separate.
okay.
I mean,
I said to my knowledge, there's all
yeah,
the
this
capital.
is
fund
apparatus
form.
that the fire company owns and we don't, so we wouldn't have a capital item.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something, my 8 years, I've never.
Andy, you're nodding over there. You know what we're, you know,
It was
what we're-
originally set up, back when Ambrose was here, there was a equipment fund.
okay,
It was set aside. I don't know if it was anything other than just a reserve fund. And so much was put in each month. And then when we tried in times when the truck came due, there was already a substantial amount of cost there. That things change and you have to spend money on other things. So it was never a fund like Reach says is correct. But I think it was just handled like that's the savings account for that.
Correct, it's one of the issues, we have a checking account for a fire fund. So in the past, what we would do is put money in this account for the fire fund. Then when we pay the bills, we'd pay the bills out of the general fund and move the money back to the general fund to reimburse us, which is ridiculous. So instead of doing that, we budget for line items that the fire company asks for, but we pay for them out of the general fund. We don't move the money to the fire fund and then move it back to the general fund. And the fire fund earns 0.2% interest and general fund's earning 3% interest. It doesn't make any sense.
that answers my question.
Change is good.
That's all I have.
All right, sit here, good. Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me, I did want to mention one thing that is on the agenda that was not discussed previously because it just came up last week. We were asked by the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank to do a proclamation proclaiming September 2026 as Hunger Action Month in Borough Franklin Park. So I will be making that proclamation tonight. And I'll ask, to have some social media on that and ways that the residents can contribute through our annual drive for Thanksgiving. And there's other ways that the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank, they're having some special events in September that will want to make the residents involved.
Anyone else? Okay, I don't have anything, do we want to circle back to the agenda?
We are set. Kathy, we did make changes, those to the recitals, referencing the applicant appeared at the August 19th, 2025, 6 pre-meeting. Well, you don't do it on the fly. 6 pre-meeting for Borough Council and address the arborvitae screening trees on Oakleaf Lane and potential for paving the parking lot in the future. Then to the 2 modifications, I added first one on landscaping, ended with Borough Council grants the requested modification for landscaping to be as depicted on the landscape plan. The arborvitae already planted along Oak Leaf Lane may remain, but if they are removed or die, any replacement trees shall be planted outside of the Oak Leaf Lane right of way. Borough assumes no liability or responsibility for the existing arborvitae trees along Oak Leaf Lane. Then for the modification on paving the parking areas, council grants this modification, waives the requirement to pave the entire parking area for a period of 10 years from the date of final approval on the reporting plan. The applicant demonstrated that paving the entire parking area is not feasible at this time, but agreed to comply with the borough's parking area paving requirements within the next 10 years. Okay, sorry, yes, and as we mentioned before, motion 10 is the other Oak Leaf Lane agreement. Some symmetry to all. With respect to motion 11, Kathy and I talked in terms of preparing the resolution for Franklin Inn. We realized there was a misnumbering, so this is just a Robert's Rules motion to amend the previously adopted resolution, just to correct the numbering in the resolution book and in the sequencing. We're out of order on motion 4 and 5.
Because
As we jumped
we
it.
had done 1424 and then we decided to do the approval resolution.
It was already on the agenda.
It's already on the agenda, the number was already assigned.
Actually, I do have a question.
Yes.
On it. So since that original resolution was on November 1925, before myself and some others were members of council, does that affect our ability to participate in that motion?
Good question. And then finally on co-stars, you might be hearing in the municipal world a bit of a panic now because the Shaycog bid came in at a very high number. And so particularly all the Quaker Valley municipalities, including the number we represent, are looking for salt, tried to get in on co-stars as well. The only bidder for Shaycog was American Rock Salt. I didn't think you could do this because it's co-stars. It's state cooperative purchasing. You take all comers. Apparently they can shut down and say, no, we won't sell to you, late coming municipalities. But Borough has always, have taken a belt and suspenders approach to both putting out or joining a bid and purchasing through co-stars. You did get questioned, I think it was during Ambrose as well, by the state auditors of why we do that, and we got flagged and explained to them that it's better to be prepared. And lo and behold, chickens come to roost because municipalities that haven't done that are scrambling. So you might get $100 on the black market for this and make a profit. Maybe you run a arbitrage or something like that. Every year. It was salt.
Max,
Yes,
the motion for Franklin Inn that we just discussed.
yes.
Screw up. Yes.
I do not change the motion.
Okay, just read
The
it.
resolution has been,
So whoever reads it, just read it as is.
as is.
Okay.
I can explain if we want to.
Sorry, do we need anything in there about like they're responsible for any damage the tree caused?
I just said the borough's not responsible.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's between them and the homeowners association.
Here we are, yeah.
Okay. All right, sounds good. So do we have an executive session? We have time, can we have?
Just a quick update, I mean, I can run through it fast, yes.
Let's do it.
All right,